page after page of random ass icons in no particular order. You cowards. All right, hope you've been well. I'm going to be diving into my iPhone setup. I am on iOS 26, the latest and greatest, and I'm going over three main principles. My setup around simplicity, efficiency, and productivity. Put another buzzword in if you'd like. But I was chatting with a buddy, and we really geek out on people's setups, each other's setups, other setups, whether it's around your favorite hack, widgets, automations, or maybe you're just doing the minimalist setup. I think all of them are awesome. And please, if you have an idea, put it in the comments, whether on any of those. If you have an idea, I want to see it. I'm really interested, and I'm gonna pin the best idea down below. So let's dive in. Now, on my phone, on the top section, I start off with two widgets. And these are the things that run my life. Every time I open the phone, I know what's going on. And there's some no-brainers. They're nothing fancy, but it is the calendar and the reminders widget. And both of these kind of do a couple things all at once. So with the calendar, yes, I can see holidays, birthdays, events, but I also see what day it is, the 17th. A lot of you may have the calendar icon, app icon on your homepage. And the beauty of that is it always tells you the day, right? It changes. So Friday the 17th. The widget already does that, so I can see it. And if I click into it, just like the app icon, it goes straight into my calendar. So it's kind of doing three things at once. Same thing for reminders. I see how many things I have going on for the day. I can just move over to one, click it and say it's done, or I can unclick it. You don't have to go into the app to click these and manage it, which is awesome. You will see like cell battery. That is actually something I have set to today. The other ones are past due. And that's actually up in the calendar as well. So if you don't have a lot of items in your calendar or reminders app, a later version of iOS actually has now combined them. That makes it so awesome. So you can just see everything in one place. So think about that when you're doing your setup. And obviously, if you've seen before, you can make these small, larger. I kind of have the middle sizes, but again, the top half of this screen runs my life. And then going down to the bottom, these are all the apps that I use the most. It's a mix of communication, things for work, and just things that I enjoy using. So we have your kind of standards, messaging, maps, photos, yada, yada. I do have Messenger. I hate it, and here's why. I have it because it's used often. I have a lot of friend groups or people at work that message me on that, and they don't use SMS. Sometimes I think that, hey, I'm not going to bother them that much, so I'll use this one. That's fine, but I will say for all other social media apps, of the last few weeks, I have deleted them off my homepage, off my screens. They show up in the app library at the very back. So if you scroll, you'll see, all your other stuff here. But I have taken them off the homepage, and this is by intention. Facebook, Instagram, I was finding that I was spending way too much time on there, scrolling. And no matter what I did with the Facebook app, there was always like a number 1 or 3 or 5 of, unread notifications, right? And I'd go into that app, I'd fine tune it to only show me notifications for things I want to see. And no matter what, I swear it's built to keep making you open it over and over and over again. So I just said, see ya. I will go into the app a couple times a day now if I get a notification or I want to check it before bed. But this has changed everything. I no longer go in it. I recommend it for you. But moving on. I do have Outlook and Slack, so these are for work. And since I'm working 5 days a week and I'm running around the office a lot, it's very helpful to have those there. Reminders, notes, those, my whole life revolves around those apps. So those are definitely there. Then on your home row, basic phone, email, Safari. I will say I have one folder, and this is kind of like next tier apps that I want on my home screen. I want quick access, but I don't need within one click. So in there, I have music, podcasts, YouTube, the Files apps. So Files, I'm using more and more, and that's the Mac version, the Apple, iPad, iPhone version. And so I'm keeping a lot of my bills on there, documents, archives of other files that I need to keep. But Google Drive, I still got to keep it. That is where, Excel or Sheets lives, and it does so well at databases. Keeping track of my finances. I run a Scout group, so the agendas, the Scout list, being able to share those files with other adults, it's just too handy. And Google does it better than everybody. Apple has a lot of catch up, and I frankly don't think they'll ever go mainstream, especially with people on Android and other things like that. So I have to have both, but that's fine. And just some other apps again that I want one click away. So that is the homepage. It's very, again, efficient, simple for me. It's not overloaded with a lot of things I don't use. Moving to the second screen, I've broke this out into two areas, and let me explain that. So the top half is, now this is just kind of my secondary stuff. Things that I want organized, I want within quick access, but I may not be using every day. So my finance folder, if I got to pay off my 4 credit cards, I know all the apps are in there. If I want to do my monthly expenses, I know all the apps that I need are in there. So that stuff I'll check. I'll look at how the market's doing, yada, yada. For this Sky one, I just simply forget all the names of these apps. The Aurora Alerts, Space Weather Live. And so I use these a lot when I'm going out and doing photography and I want to know the conditions or the night sky or how to get the Milky Way, maybe something to do with the weather. Some of these weather apps have advanced functions than the stock Apple one. So I just keep it all in one area so it's easy to reference, and that works for me. Photo and video is kind of the same thing. There's a lot of apps you can have, and I have a couple others loaded on my phone, but the ones that I enjoy and find most use of, I just keep there so I don't have to go digging for them. And just, again, some other things that I'll find useful. Now, the bottom half, this is where I separate my YouTube kind of hustle apps. And so with a later version of iOS, we were able to now move the icons anywhere on the screen. It's not just from the top to the bottom. So for example, I got things, and that's keeping my to-dos of video ideas, things I want to create shorts on. And this is an important distinction. Everything from my life, personal, that's where I'm using Reminders, the stock app within Apple. Everything for kind of quote business, I'm doing in Things. Now, I know in Reminders you can create multiple lists, you can use tags, and that's a good way of separating things. But I honestly love both apps, and I've already paid for Things, and I want to keep learning more about them and using them and finding ways to optimize. So just keeping the world separate in two different apps really keeps it clean. It's very easy to manage, and that's my hack there. I also use Bear, and that's just kind of for my script. So I'll put some rough notes in there, and I kind of keep that archive going. Obsidian, I've been using that to just kind of do on the fly notes. And this is kind of inspiration for new videos, maybe quotes I've heard, articles I've saved. And I just keep building all of that into there. If you want to see a video on Obsidian someday, I'd be more than happy to. I will say I've jumped between Notion, Obsidian, and then the Apple apps, trying to figure out kind of my ideal system, but that's where I am today. And then Buy Me a Coffee. Hey, go in the description, buy me a coffee. That's kind of like my Patreon. If people are liking my videos, it's a way just to say thanks. So I got that. And obviously my YouTube studio as well, so I can see how my videos are doing. But that's my apps in a nutshell. I do kind of like that blurred out background in the back. If you hold on the background, you can see this edit in the left corner. So you click edit, you can hit edit wallpaper. And this is where you can turn that blur on and off. So I just got some mountains. It's the same thing as my lock screen, but just enabling that gives me a little bit more legibility, I guess, for my app icons. And then I guess on that same theme, on the icons, I always go dark. So again, if I go to edit at the top here, I can go to customize, and you could have the default, you can have the clear, so that's new in iOS 26. I'm not as big of a fan because I think the color just helps me hone in a little bit easier on what I'm trying to find. You can tint them, so I know some people have done some cool themes, in the past. That's not quite my jam, but I love the dark ones. And I will say, I have automatic settings on my phone, so when it's daylight, I have the day settings. When it's dark, I have the dark settings. And I like both. I've tried all dark mode all the time, and it's just not easy in the eyes for me to read things, especially during the day. But the dark app icons at all times, I think look sharp, they stand out, and so that's how I keep it. And so again, whether it's my iPhone, my iPad, I never have more than 2 pages of apps. 1, 2, 1, 2. If I need to find something, I know I can go to the app library and find it, but a lot of these I just don't open. I keep them in case I need them. If someone sends me a TikTok that I need to see, sure, great. If I want to look at my health data, workouts, whatever, I know it's there. And just Search is so fast right now. If I pull down and start typing Amazon, I can get into that app lickety split. There's no reason to have the Amazon app or a lot of apps, Netflix, whatever, taking up space on my homepage when you can get to them literally within 3 taps. Pull down AM and it shows. So that's my hack. I go to the library. If I need to hunt something down, I can look at things in alphabetical list, or I can just search for it, and everything is basically a click away. And then on my home screen, I keep it simple. So again, I have the mountains right now, and I don't have the blurred out version. I like seeing the photo, and whether it's my kids or whatever, it's there. At the top, I have the weather right above the time. That's not there by default, but to have the date, the time, you can click that to get straight into the weather, which is nice, just quick access. Although usually I'm just looking on my Apple Watch, which also works. And then on the bottom, I have an automation. This one I find really handy when I go places in my vehicle. I can click it, and how I have it set is to go to my favorite playlist in Apple Music and shuffle the songs. I'd usually be finding myself going to work and I'd open music, then I go to the playlist, then I go to favorites, then I hit shuffle. This one shortcut does it all for me, which makes it so fast and easy. Or if I want to listen to music at home on the HomePod and transfer the music over, that works great too. And then the other button I keep is to start a new to-do in the Things app. So if I have an idea for a video, I can quickly get it in there and I don't have to forget about it, go into my phone and all that jazz. Now, there were stock icons on here for the camera and flashlight. I have the latest iPhone 17 Pro. Are we on 17? Holy cow, we just keep on moving along. But this phone already has a button on the side for the camera. It already has another toggle that I have set to the flashlight. And so with having those buttons on the side that I can easily get to the flashlight or camera, I also don't need those, icons on the screen. Now I could find a third, fourth, fifth, sixth, shortcut or widget to put on the home screen, but there's not anything that's kind of screaming at me that I need right now, but the flexibility is there if I need it. So that is my home screen, my pages, my widgets in a nutshell. That's the system. If you have something that you do that you enjoy, that you find efficient, I want it in the comments. I want to read about it. I hope this was helpful. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.